Have you all already had the visit with Marcus Valdez-Scantling?
Or at least there was a visit that was.
He's here right now.
He's here now.
Yeah.
What was it that stood out
To you about him?
I had a good workout this morning. I mean, ran around pretty good. I'm going to visit with him here in just a minute as soon as we get done. So, but yeah, I think so far it's been a good visit.
And he's a guy that y'all been tied to at least a couple times via reports and things like that. But is there something about him that you all have identified?
Well, look, he's played in our league. You know, he's a bigger receiver, got a good speed element to him. I think he's somebody that, you know, can fit some of the things that we, you know, might be needing, you know, in particular with the loss of Shaheed, you know, another speed element, I think, is something that we would consider.
That is a guy who his stats didn't jump off the charts. I think it was his first start, but Anthony Orji, I mean, he had a good game against Denver. It seemed like he's around the ball a lot. Always in the right place, right time. I mean, he's made a lot of progress from last year.
Yeah, he's made a ton of progress since last year. He's done some good things. You know, he's probably played a little bit more than we would have, you know, originally had anticipated. And I think that's, you know, that's part of the you know, obviously there's a lot of negatives to, you know, when you have guys go down, but you have an opportunity for some young guys to step up, get some valuable playing experience. And so that's been good to see him be able to take advantage of those things.
How are things progressing with Derek Carr?
They're progressing well. He had a throwing session today. He'll have another throwing session tomorrow. We'll see where he's at.
If he doesn't play, would it be Spencer, or is that in the air?
No, the plan would be to stay with Spencer. And I think Spencer's done some good things. I mean, obviously there's some rookie mistakes. Got to do a better job of protecting the football. That would be probably the biggest, you know, thing that we have to do a better job of. But, you know, I felt like when you go back and you watch the tape and he's got protection, you know, I thought he did a good job of throwing the football. I thought he created some things with his feet. You know, he's accurate when he was outside the pocket. So I see a lot of really good things out of that player. You know, we have to eliminate some of the negative plays. And I think if he can do that, then you know, I think, like I said, I think he's done some good things.
Was Derek able to, like, torque and everything?
Yeah, he's getting there.
Has Chris gone through
He's still under protocol. Yeah.
But the soft tissue stuff, like, did anything change from last year to this year? Because last year was like an average number, and this year is like the highest.
Yeah, no, I don't. There really hadn't been a whole lot, you know, that's changed, and I don't know that we can put our finger on, you know, one thing in particular. I think we're still working through those things, and hopefully we can, you know, begin to minimize those things as much as possible.
How is Pete Werner progressing so far with his hamstring injury?
He's doing well. I'm expecting, you know, that we'll have some guys coming back this week, but we'll see, you know, how it goes throughout the course of the week.
Did you practice today or have a bonus session?
No, today was a bonus meeting session. We had a lot of meetings to cover a lot of different things.
And did you have an opportunity to do like a bunch of self-scouting this weekend with the staff?
Yeah, well, look, I think in particular defensively, you know, identifying a few areas that we have to, you know, be better at. Our communication, I think, needs to be better. I think that has to start with me. Our execution, you know, knowing what to do, knowing how to do it. I think that's an area that we need to improve on. I think, you know, just the physicality and the violence of the game, I think that's an area that we can still improve on. And so those are just areas that, you know, I looked at and identified things that we have to do better at. Look, I thought we made an improvement, you know, in terms of our tackling in this game. We really didn't have any physical opportunity to tackle this you know, past week in practice. And yet I think we had 6 missed tackles in the game, which is, you know, pretty significantly reduced from where we were, you know, a week before. And so a lot of that has to do with just, you know, mindset and mentality.
What is improving physicality and balance? What is that?
Well, I just think our strike and shed on all levels of our defense has to be has to be better. It has to be better up front, has to be better at the linebacker position, has to be better in the secondary. You know, and like I said, look, we've done those things at times. We have not done that very well in the last few weeks, and we got to get back to doing those things.
When you're looking at the run game and in particular defensive run game, have there been any things that like kind of consistently stood out with that?
I think the things that I just talked about, I mean, like communication, execution, strike, shed, I think those are areas that we have to improve on.
Are you about to be tested as much as you will all season by the Chargers run game?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously they're committed to the run game. I think they do a good job in the run game. They scheme things up pretty well. So yeah, it'll certainly be a test for us.
How much have you seen Kool-Aid McKinstry grow since that first start he had against Dallas?
Yeah, look, I think every day he gets out here and gets a chance to compete, I think he does. I think he improves. I think there's still, you know, some areas that you know, he can work to improve. The thing I like about him is that he doesn't mind competing. He's not afraid to get out there and challenge. And so, look, his role will increase with the Debo going down. So he'll play a lot more plays, and I'm, you know, quite frankly, I'm kind of excited about watching him play.
Safe to assume he'll be the starter opposite Marshall Lattimore right now moving forward?
No, Lontae Taylor will start outside, you know, unless we're in nickel, and then Lontae will stay in the nickel role and Kool-Aid will come outside.
Dennis, you said you had a lot of meetings today. Anything that would constitute a change in how you would normally operate, like a different kind of meeting, a different kind of message that was sent today?
No.
And a normal Monday after a Thursday meeting?
No. You know, I just think there's a lot of things that we have to correct, a lot of things that we have to improve on, you know, in all three phases. And so I think that's what today's about, is trying to make those corrections. And then we got to come out and, you know, have good practice on Wednesday.
Salisbury's shoulder injury, was that at all related to the injury he had last year?
I don't know the answer to that.
And getting a couple, potentially a couple guys back on the offensive interior, how much can that help kind of what you all?
Yeah, look, I think that would help a lot. You know, I think, you know, being able to solidify the interior of the offensive line, I think, is something that we need to do. And so, if we're able to get, you know, some of these guys back, I think that'll help us in terms of being able to do that.
Dennis, I know it's unavoidable sometimes, but in some of the missed tackles, is it a lot of times the guys just not breaking down? I mean, you know, prior to it, you know.
Yeah, well, there's you know, a lot of things that kind of go along with. Some of it's not breaking down. Some of it's breaking down too soon. Some of it's creating population to the ball. I mean, I just think there's a lot of fundamental things that you know we need to work on to improve in that area.
Is there anything else you can tell us about like where Chris Olave is in the protocol?
I really can't. I mean, per league rules, you know, all I can say is he's in the protocol.
Is it that he can only progress during practice day, like, are the practices the marker for his progression? Or
Well, yeah, I mean, there's certain steps that you have to go through, and part of that is, you know, practice related. So, but he's in the protocol. He's progressing through the protocol. We're going to take those steps, you know, as defined by the league, and then we'll go from there. I think there's a chance, yeah.
What did you guys see from Derek the other day to make him doubtful rather than just out having progress?
Yeah, well, I think the question was, could he come in and be the emergency third quarterback, you know, if that was needed. And so therefore he was doubtful in that regard. I don't think it was ever a question of, you know, is he going to go in and play, you know, as the starter or anything like that. It was more, you know, to get to a point where he could be the emergency third for us, and we just weren't at that point yet.
You mentioned communication being a part of the challenge in the run defense. Has that been a part of the challenge on the offensive line as well, with so many changes?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, you know, just in terms of making sure we're getting to the right people. But I don't know that it's been, you know, as much about that as just, you know, kind of the fundamental and technique of being able to get to those spots that we need to be able to get to.
With communication and like the run game and the defensive run game, like what is that? Is it the linebackers not communicating with like the front? Like how does that kind of all work
Well, look,
together?
communication's a two-way street, right? I mean, somebody has to be talking and somebody has to be listening, not just hearing, but listening, and that's every good defense that I've ever been a part of, starts with the ability to communicate. And so I don't think we're doing that at the level that we need to right now.
There were a couple of occasions against Denver where there were free runners off the left side, pass rushers off the left side. What brought that on? Like, what creates that?
Well, look, I think they did a good job of, identifying, the scheme and the protection. And in some of those, you're going to have a free runner off the edge, and so you have to be hot, and you got to know, where your hot reads are. And I think that's an area that, Spencer's only going to get better at as he gets more and more reps.
Do you expect Derek to practice Wednesday?
I don't know that yet, yeah. All good? All right, guys, thanks.